5 children, 0 DNA evidence, 0 eyewitnesses, but 12 people found them all guilty because being alone is more frightening than being right. This is not a legal error. This is a psychological trap. According to Solomon Asch's conformity experiments, people accept things that are clearly wrong under group pressure at a rate of 37%. When 12 people are locked in a room, social conformity becomes stronger than evidence. This video is not about 5 children. This video is about how herd psychology becomes a decision maker. In the rest of this video, you'll see how 12 strangers united around the same mistake and why the truth lost to the first voice in the room. And you would have stayed silent too. Common sense tells us this: people decide based on truth. Psychology shows that this is only half true. In Solomon Asch's classic 1951 experiment, participants were asked a simple question: which line is the same length? The answer was obvious. But the other 7 people in the room, all actors, intentionally gave the wrong answer. The result? 37% of participants conformed to the clearly wrong answer. Some people didn't trust their own eyes just to avoid being alone. When Asch later asked, "Why did you give the wrong answer?" most said the same thing: "I was afraid of being mocked." Others said something worse: "Maybe I was wrong." In courtrooms, this effect is called social conformity pressure, and the jury room is the real-life version of the Asch experiment. Truth is quiet, the majority is loud, and the human brain would rather conform to error than stand alone. But the real danger hasn't even begun. Juries don't reach consensus. The first person to speak wins. The Central Park 5 case is the most painful example of this. In 1989, in New York, a woman was assaulted. Police arrested 5 teenagers. DNA evidence matched none of them. Their statements contradicted each other. There were no eyewitnesses, but the media had already written a story. Wilding, a violent youth gang. When jury deliberations began, the first person spoke. "They're guilty. The media shows it every day." One person objected, but that person was alone. And as Asch found, even when there is a dissenting voice, group pressure weakens, but it never disappears. On the second day, the dissenting voice went quiet. On the third day, the jury voted guilty unanimously. Research shows that in jury rooms, the first 10 minutes often determine the final verdict. If the first speaker takes a strong position, others follow, because disagreement is a social risk, and most people choose acceptance over being right. You might be thinking right now, "I would have spoken up. I wouldn't stay silent." I thought the same thing, but as Asch showed, 75% of us conform at least once, and this is where innocence disappears. Psychologists call this herd mentality. When a group reaches consensus, critical thinking stops. According to Irving Janis, groupthink has 3 warning signs. First, the illusion of unanimity. If everyone agrees, it must be right. Second, suppression of dissent. The person who disagrees is ruining the team. Third, collective rationalization. We can ignore the evidence because the majority says so. In the Central Park 5 case, the jury passed through all 3 stages. Lack of DNA was dismissed. Contradictory statements were explained away as stress. 13 years after the conviction, the real attacker confessed. Matias Reyes, his DNA matched. He acted alone. The 5 teenagers were innocent. But for 13 years, the jury members never doubted their decision, because unanimity is more powerful than truth. April 19, 1989. Antron McCrae, 15. Kevin Richardson, 15. Yusuf Salam, 15. Raymond Santana, 14. Corey Wise, 16. All were arrested. They were interrogated for 14 to 30 hours. 4 of them confessed. All later recanted, but the jury heard the confessions. In 2 trials in 1990, all were convicted. They received sentences ranging from 6 to 13 years. In 2002, Matias Reyes confessed. The DNA match was confirmed. The convictions were overturned. Yusef Salam later said, "From the first day we were part of a story. The truth never mattered." Corey Wise spent years in solitary confinement because it was the only way to survive. In 2014, New York City paid $41 million in compensation, but 13 years never came back. Loneliness weighs more than truth. The first voice determines the final verdict, and unanimity is the greatest illusion of all. The problem is not ignorance, it is the human brain's need for social acceptance. If, while watching this video, you thought, "I would have acted differently in that jury room," this is exactly where you may be wrong. The brain is designed to conform. To see how the system weaponizes herd psychology, subscribe. This autopsy is complete. To see how the system weaponizes herd psychology, subscribe. This autopsy is complete.